What is up, warriors? Hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome to my video series on mobility and flexibility. Now, those two words aren't necessarily interchangeable, and as I answer these questions and dive a little deep into my own mobility routine, which is what I'm trying to share with you today, the more and more I go through it, the more I'm inspired. I think I'm actually going to write a short little ebook on mobility, flexibility, stretching, because it's a very deep topic that you can go down a lot of rabbit holes and you can find a lot of different opinions on the subject matter. But the way that I define mobility is, it's a combination of range of motion, motor control, and strength. Long term, if you want to live a long, healthy life, meaning physically healthy, mobility is underrated. It is your body's ability to move through range of motions, take on load, go and not get hurt while you're doing those things. Range of motion is something that can be tight, can not be fully available, and you can work on it little by little, slowly but surely, getting yourself just a little bit more range of motion, a little bit more range of motion. Just like your fitness journey, right? Progress over perfection. You start at one ability of mobility and you just slowly but surely progress until you're hitting different ranges. You're able to load up now with strength. You're feeling better and you have that joint mobility within your joints that help you move. It's so important to move every single day. So this mobility routine that I'm going to share with you today, I go through this every single morning. It's about 10 to 15 minutes. It doesn't need to be a lot. It's just a matter of, holding these stretches for, say 30 seconds. That's all you really need. 30 seconds each. Make sure you're doing each side. Make sure that you're giving it your all and you're focusing on your breathing while you work through these things. Okay, so what you're trying to do is you're just trying to open up the joints in your body, move, right? And double up that movement and keep working on that every single day. You do the mobility routine here on top of everything else that you do, on top of eating well, on top of exercising, on top of riding a bike, on top of anything that you're doing. Start with your mobility, right? Hit that every single day because that's never not going to be important. It's important now, no matter how old or young you are. It'll be important when you're 60, it'll be important when you're 70, and it'll be even more important when you're 100, okay? And keep in mind, we're talking, like I said, my definition of mobility is the combination of range of motion, motor control, being able to control what's going on, and having the strength to come out of that. There's nothing but benefits for that, especially longer term and in old age. You're never not going to need your range of motion, ever. You will always need it. And if it is blocked somehow or you can't hit a certain range of motion, you need to work on it now so that it can get better. Because if you don't work on it, your muscles will seize up. You ever heard the term, right? If you don't use it, you lose it? That's 100% accurate with your muscles. If you don't use your muscles, you will lose your muscles. But if you start when you're 20, 30, 40, whenever you get that bulb goes off for you and you actually start, right? That's from that point forward, right? You will be making progress. You will be getting stronger. You will always have that muscle available to you to help you later in life. But don't wait until you're 60. Start now and then build on that range of motion, build on that muscular capacity, build on your ability. And 20 years down the line, you're going to be a completely different person. Anyway, that's enough of my rambling. So we're at 4 minutes in, me just rambling. Okay, so let's get into the actual mobility stretches and exercises themselves. Okay, so start. My toes a little jacked. So I usually sit back on my feet. It's a little uncomfortable today, but anyway, go through the same motion. But you want to lean back. Put the pressure on your hands. Maybe you can't quite see it, right? But this is what we're trying to do. You're stretching out your quads, right? And you're also stretching out your lower back, right? You see the people who are really, really, really good at yoga and have amazing range of motion and flexibility, they can touch the back of their shoulders down to the ground, right? So that shows you, that's where I can improve. Like, I'm not all the way down to the ground. I can't make that happen, right? I don't know if I'd be able to get up if I could get down there, right? So all of us, no matter what kind of shape you're in, we all have the ability to get better. Okay, so now I've done that. I lean back, I hold that, I get a real good stretch in the front of my quads, I get a good stretch in my lower back, and then what I like to do is reach out, stretch as far as you can, and then sit down. Sit down into that stretch. So you go backwards, you go forwards, stretch it right out. And now you're ready to move on to the next one. So next one I like to do is I like to go on my back, and you see me reference hips, 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 hips all the time. So next on the list, pull your knee up to your chest, lay down, and almost like literally try to touch your knee to your chest. So you feel stretch all down in your butt, a little bit in your hamstring. But this thing here is really to get your hips open, so you have that ability to get your knee as close to your chest as you can. It will be very next to near impossible to actually put your knee to your chest because of you have meat in the way, but it's better like this. Some people can only get to here. Well, that's fine. If you're here and you work on it week by week, keep pulling on it, pulling on it, so you get that as close to your chest as you can. Same thing with the other side, right? Same exact thing. And just pull that sucker up. So you're feeling all that stretch down in here. That's what you're trying to do, and open up, unlock the hip joint, right? Your hip joint is multi-dimensional in the way that it can operate. So you want to open it up and hit it through all those ranges. Okay, so the next one, after I've done that, I sit up and then I cross your foot over. So let's say this is my left leg is straight, my right leg crosses over, and I take my left arm, my elbow, and I tuck it on the other side of my knee. I reach my right hand directly behind me. Get a nice low back stretch. It's a low back stretch, but it also gets the outside of your gluteus maximus. So same thing, switch to the other side, everything opposite. And here, it's the rotation. The rotation while pulling the leg forward just opens up everything on the side here and pulls on your glutes to really stretch them out and get them engaged. Okay, so that's next. So we do that, and then another thing I like to do, this is kind of optional, but if you're feeling good, when you're done the twist, grab the knee and pull that into your chest just to get a little extra in the butt stretch. This one's not so much about the hips, but it does definitely pull on the outside of your butt. So that's another good one. Okay, so from here, so now I've been on my knees, I've stretched forward, I've come back, I've laid on my back, I've got my hips opened up, I've now twisted. Okay, so next one here is we're gonna do, I'll call them butterflies, right? So you basically put your feet together, grab your toes so that they're stay together, pull your heels in, keep your back nice and straight, okay, and just hold. Now, the advanced move on this would be to grab your ankles, right? Keep your feet together, keep your heels in as much as you can, and then push down on the insides of your knees, right? Obviously, which is going to stretch your groin out, or the groin area. And again, there's people in the world that could get their knees all the way to the ground. I'm not one of those people. I have things to work on too, right? So, but this will open things up for you. So now that we've done that, okay, that's wonderful. Move on to the next one, which we call the frog stretch. So in the frog stretch, or some people might call it the sex stretch, you want to put all the pressure on your knees, get your knees as wide as you can possibly make them work. Bring your feet back in together. So again, your feet are touching, and then drop your hips and sit back into it. It's a super awkward position, but this opens up your hips and your groin like you wouldn't believe. Advanced move on this one, you want to go a little deeper. Okay. Lay down into it. Okay, so now my legs are spread. I'm leaning down with my upper body. Now sit back into it. Oh my God, it's like 10 times the stretch in that groin area. Oh, so this makes it easier. It does. Drop your upper body, push back. You get a more intense stretch in your groin area. Now, again, just like hips, the reason I focus on my groin a lot is because it's underrated. People do not take care of it the way that they do. And then they wonder why they get injured one day, right? So stretch out your hips and your groin. They're so incredibly important to your functionality as a human being, plain and simple. Above any kind of weight training, above any kind of strength conditioning, having hip mobility and groin mobility, game changer in life. It's going to help you in so many ways. Definitely want to prioritize those two particular areas. Okay, so now we've done that, right? We have, so where are we at? Oh, we just did the frog stretch. Okay, so now right after the frog stretch, honestly, I don't know what you call this one, but again, this is just my own made up mobility routine. What I do, I'll do it for both legs, but we'll start with the left leg. I put the left leg completely perpendicular, nice 90-degree bend. Hold this foot down. Shut back up a bit. There we go. Hold this foot down. Now what I want to do is I want to put my right hip on my left heel without this leg moving. So hold this leg down, right? Move that hip in there. Sit that hip down on my heel. Beauty. Now, get your chest as low to the ground as you can. Oh. And this gets all your hip muscles because your leg is twisted, and then you put that additional pressure on to stretch it right out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Same thing on the other side, right? So you get this 90 and tuck your left hip under your right heel now. Oh yeah. Again. Oh, I'm a little close on this one, but oh yeah. Great stretch. Okay. And then the last one here, there's two ways to do this. It's called, it's a kind of a yoga stretch, and it's called the cobra. So you can do the cobra on your hands, right? Try to look up. The key here is to engage your glutes or your butt, squeeze them hard. Don't let your hips off the ground, right? So if you can only go to here, fine, right? But if you go here and your legs are coming off, you're not actually doing the stretch, right? You're coming up, but you're not keeping your hips down, and you're not keeping your butt down. You're not actually doing the stretch. So what you can do, makes it a little bit easier and puts more focus on your lower back, is called the baby cobra. You see that? So basically, you're resting on your elbows and you have your hands straight out. So instead of pushing up and extending your arms, keep your arms locked in this position. But same thing, squeeze your glutes. And what you're trying to do is engage that lower back and get it into extension there. So that's called the baby cobra. So you can do the baby cobra, work on getting that extension in your back, and then progress to lifting your arms without your butt and your hips coming off the ground. So progress over perfection, right? This whole routine, which you can watch again, it's not about being perfect. It's about making little bits of progress. So if you hold each of those stretches on both sides, make sure you get even on both sides of your body, but you hold both of those stretches and at the end of the day, you are slowly but surely going to increase your mobility and your range of motion. Okay? The range of motion assessment that is inside the profile needs to be completed because it's going to give you little indicators and markers and actual video evidence of like where you are currently at. And no one is necessarily more important than the other. Okay? But at the end of the day, the most important position, in my opinion, for all humans is to be able to squat down comfortably. You should be able to get down in this position. I'm on my feet. My butt is not touching the ground, right? So I'm on my feet. I'm resting in this squat position, which is full range of motion, full depth. Obviously I don't have any weight on my bar, but this is the perfect human form. That we all should be able to do this. Kids can do this, no problem. It's only adults as we grow older and older and do less and less physical activity that we lose our range of motion. Okay, so we want to get this back. This is where we want to be. And then you want to be able to just stand up, no problem. And then go back down. Like, you should be able to do this for 20 minutes, no problem. There's no weight, there's no resistance. But if you don't have the capability of getting this low, it's something you need to work on. But this is where we want to be, okay? This is the ultimate, is being able to squat down, all the pressure's on your feet, no resting, right? I'm engaged right now. My legs are, they're working. They're burning a little bit, right? Like this isn't just I'm not sitting down. I'm not relaxed. I just have that range of motion where my body's able to sit in here and hold, and my muscles are capable of holding said position, right? But this doesn't get any easier, right? But that's what we're aiming for. That's the target. That's where we're going at. Any questions, send me a message. Hope this video was awesome. And I'll probably redo this in the future. But for now, follow that routine, 15 minutes in the morning, 7 days a week, because you're alive, 7 days a week. There's no reason to take a day off. 15 minutes in the morning, set your body up for the whole day. Trust me, game changer. Mobility every day. No days off when it comes to mobility.